Welcome, true crime enthusiasts, to a deep dive into the perplexing case of Rex Hubermann, Gilgo Beach murder suspect. Today, we unravel the captivating story of this enigmatic figure, exploring his background, the events that led up to his arrest, and the investigation clues that shed light on his potential involvement. Join me as we delve into the twists and turns of this gripping true crime tale. Rex Hubermann, a name that sent shockwaves through the true crime community. Born and raised in a small town, little was known about this enigmatic figure until he became a person of interest in a series of unsettling crimes.
Rex, did you do it?
Is this architect a serial killer cops have been hunting for 13 years? 59-year-old Rex Hubermann was arrested in a raid on his 11th floor office of this building on Manhattan's 5th Avenue by cops investigating the notorious Gilgo Beach murders on Long Island. Hubermann has been described as an ogre. He's 6'4" and 240 pounds. He first came to the attention of authorities in 2022 when it was discovered he once owned a Chevrolet Avalanche, a vehicle that was used to pick up one of the victims. Prosecutors say DNA evidence on the 3 bodies link him directly to the murders. His attorney spoke after his court appearance.
Speaking to my client, the only thing I can tell you that he did say as he was in tears was, "I didn't do this."
Court documents reveal Hubermann used burner phones to arrange meetings with 3 of the victims for sexual encounters. They released these surveillance photos of him buying the phones and this selfie, which he sent to one of the sex workers. The bodies of 4 sex workers known as the Gilgo 4 were found wrapped in burlap on this desolate stretch of beach on Long Island in 2010. 7 more victims were found the following year. Police in hazmat gear swarmed through his modest red house in Massapequa Park, Long Island today, where he grew up. He lives there with his wife and 2 adult children. The house is about 15 miles from where the bodies of the Gilgo 4, all said to be sex workers, were discovered.
The focus for me, the members of our team, have been on bringing justice for these victims and closure to these families who have suffered.
The Gilgo Beach case was triggered in 2010 by a disturbing 911 call from a sex worker, Shannon Gilbert.
There's somebody after me.
Where are you, ma'am?
I don't know.
You're driving right now?
No, I'm inside the house. No, stop, no!
It was during the search for Shannon Gilbert that police uncovered the bodies of the other sex workers.
As investigators delved into his background, a complex portrait began to emerge. Rex Hubermann's troubled past revealed a history of violence and criminal behavior.
Troopers are here at the house still gathering evidence along with a crowd of onlookers. Many that have been here all day long, having a kind of fascination and fear of what happened here. And now following the story their whole lives, only to see it literally unravel right in their backyards. Into the night, people in Massapequa Park did their best to get a glimpse of the home of the suspected serial killer living right in their midst.
It's creepy, really. I mean, if you look at the house, I mean, it kind of stands out, but it's creepy. It's weird.
It's a quiet town. Everyone knows each other. Nothing really goes on, so it was just surprising to hear and kind of scary.
I was like, holy crap. Unbelievable right now, town.
James Pagano couldn't believe when he heard the name of the suspect because he went to high school with Rex Hubermann.
He was very quiet, dark, kept to himself, and extremely intelligent, very smart.
So just who is Rex Hubermann? He grew up on Long Island, but he worked in Midtown, an architect who ran a company called RH Consultants and Associates.
How you doing? Good to see you.
YouTuber Antoine Amira, who runs a page called Bonjour Realty, interviewed Hubermann about his work a year ago.
What has this job taught you about yourself? I think it's taught me more about how to understand people.
Really what stood out is his attention to details. He was very knowledgeable, very detail-oriented.
Amira told us Hubermann had a distinct physical presence.
Intimidating, no. Imposing, yes, very, very imposing. He is a head above me, a very large person. I still remember his handshake when we met. Very strong.
Tell us, who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been in New York.
Okay. Rex Hubermann, I'm an architect, I'm an architectural consultant, I'm a troubleshooter, born and raised on Long Island.
Okay. Been working in Manhattan since 1987. I have one tool that's pretty much used in almost every job, and it's actually a cabinet maker's hammer.
Cabinet maker hammer. Okay.
It is persuasive enough when I need to persuade something.
Not someone.
Something. Sometimes I have to be the heavy framing hammer.
The heavy framing hammer.
Other times I'm the lightweight hammer just to nudge things along.
Previous encounters with law enforcement hinted at a potential connection to the crimes under investigation. However, it was the accumulation of evidence that led authorities to focus their attention on him as a primary suspect. The investigation into Rex was a puzzle, and the pieces began to fall into place as authorities uncovered key clues. Forensic evidence, meticulously analyzed, provided valuable insights into the crimes.
He's gone by many names: the Long Island serial killer, the Gilgo Beach murderer, and now authorities say they've identified him by his true name and taken him into custody. We're unraveling the mystery that dates back more than 10 years. Law and Crime Daily, covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome everybody to Law and Crime Daily. I'm Jesse Weber. A major update to a true crime mystery that has haunted the Long Island, New York area for more than a decade. Authorities say that they have arrested a man believed to be the Gilgo Beach serial killer. Law enforcement took Rex Hubermann into custody late Thursday, and his home was being searched on Friday. He's lived for decades across the bay from where multiple sets of human remains were found. He's now charged with first and second-degree murder in connection with the deaths of 3 women, and he's considered a prime suspect in a 4th. Suffolk County prosecutors are asking for Hubermann to be held without bail because of the nature of the crimes, as well as very unsettling internet searches that included child pornography. Hubermann is a married father of 2 and a licensed architect in Manhattan. Authorities say they first identified him as a suspect in March of last year, and the task force took over from there.
DNA samples, fingerprints, and ballistics analysis played a crucial role in establishing a potential link between Rex and the crime scenes.
Our partners and my office, we used the grand jury to continue to investigate, and we executed over 300 subpoenas, search warrants pertaining to this individual to find out more information. One of the things that we did is we followed him because we wanted to get an abandonment sample of his DNA, which we were able to do. We also got DNA samples, abandonment samples from his family. This really supported our decision to keep our investigative focus secret, because we knew that one person would be watching, and we didn't want to give him any insight into what we were doing, and we also didn't want him to know just how close we were getting. So we maintain the grand jury secrecy, and we maintain the integrity of our investigation. In addition to those Gilgo searches, he was compulsively searching pictures of the victims, but not only pictures of the victims, pictures of their relatives, their sisters, their children. And he was trying to locate those individuals.
All right, I want to give you some background on this case, which has thus far remained unsolved. So an escort named Shannon Gilbert disappeared in 2010 while leaving a client's home. And as police searched for her, they found a body, then another, and then another. In all, 11 sets of human remains were found along a highway near Gilgo Beach in 2010 and 2011, including Gilbert's. Now, most of the victims were female sex workers, but an Asian man's body was also found, as well as that of a toddler. Detectives believe it's unlikely that all the bodies found near Gilgo Beach were connected to just one killer. You may have seen a documentary on this case called Lost Girls, released on Netflix in 2020. In 2022, Suffolk County's police commissioner created a task force that included the DA, the Sheriff's Office, New York State Police, and the FBI to renew the search for new clues and hopefully push the investigation forward. Criminal profilers at the time the bodies were discovered said killers like this do tend to fit a certain type.
I mean, just statistically, he's likely to be a male between the ages of 20 and 35. With a serial killer like this, the thrill is in the kill, so that what really drives him is not sex, but rather the power over another human being. It's the power of God, and he feels mighty strong at this point because apparently he's killed many people and has not yet been caught.
Unbelievable. Okay, I'm here with my co-hosts, Brian Buckmeyer, Terry Austin. Brian, I'll start with you. How have they connected him? Because this is like a major update. I remember following this case back in law school 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's DNA and cell phone records. Supposedly he had a number of burner phones that were communicating with a number of these women in close proximity to when they died. And all of a sudden, when their bodies are believed to be deceased, no more communication. He seems to be one of the last ones to speak with them. Also, there are hairs fragments from his wife on all three of the bodies, and on Waterman, one of the victims, his hair fractures are found in it. Now, interesting enough, they're not saying that it's exactly their hair. They're saying 99.96 of the community can be excluded from these hairs, but not his wife and not himself. So they're thinking he must have had some sort of connection, and maybe his wife's hair was on him and then dropped off on their bodies.
In other words, it sure looks like it's his material or his wife's material. The question is, though, now, Terry, he might be connected to at least these 3 deaths, but what about all of the remains, all of those bodies that I mentioned? How do they connect him to those?
Surveillance footage became a crucial piece of the puzzle, painting a timeline of Rex's movements and potentially placing him near the locations of the crimes.
That someone has been apprehended and is going to be held accountable, hopefully, for taking away the lives of their loved ones, especially when we're talking about in this case where unfortunately like these victims were sexual workers and people thought that no one was paying attention, that no one was going to take their case seriously and that no one will ever be arrested. But finally their voices were heard today.
Brian Watkins, I want to put up on the screen some of the alleged searches done by this accused serial killer. Why could law enforcement not trace the calls made by the Long Island serial killer? Why hasn't the Long Island serial killer been caught? Long Island serial killer update 2022. America's 5 most notorious old cases. 8 terrifying active serial killers we can't find. Cops launch Gilgo Beach homicide investigation task force. What you Google can and will be used against you. What do you think, Brian?
Investigators painstakingly reviewed hours of footage, scrutinizing every detail in search of any clues that could solidify their case against him.
In different indictments or in different grand juries, they were all presented in front of the same grand jury. Because the DA is going under the same common plan or scheme, he started talking about the similarities between these 3 homicides. It's going to be very difficult for a judge to say no, that we're going to sever these homicides, because you're dealing with this same type of pattern and the same type of evidence that's going to be used in each of these 3 cases. He could have charged other girls in these cases. As you can see, he only focused on these 3 that were found, their bodies within 500 feet of each other, that were found, at least 2 of them had the wife's hair on their bodies or pieces of the bondage that was used to bond the bodies of these 2 girls, the 2 of the 3 girls. So because they're using the same type of evidence and the same type of witnesses and also the same type of motive, I think definitely a judge is going to keep these 3 homicides together.
For you, if there's any children in the room, let's send them away, folks. Ready? Mature escorts, Manhattan. Teen girl begging for rape porn. Pretty girl with bruised face porn. 10-year-old schoolgirl. Girl hogtied torture porn. Girl with face beat up. Chubby 10-year-old girl crying. Blonde hair girl, young, depressed. Teen girl, oiled bodies. Nude slave girls.
Witness testimonies became instrumental in the investigation, offering glimpses into Hubermann's behavior and potential interactions with the victims. Eyewitness accounts combined with forensic evidence created a compelling narrative that tied Hubermann to the crimes. Coordinated surveillance operations and strategic deployment of resources were employed to ensure his capture. The pursuit of justice became a relentless race against time. After an extensive investigation spanning months, the breakthrough came when authorities executed a search warrant at Hubermann's residence. The search yielded crucial evidence, including personal belongings linking him to the victims and the crime scenes. It was the turning point that led to his arrest. As we conclude our exploration of the perplexing case of Rex Hubermann, we are left with lingering questions about the motivations behind these heinous acts. True crime continues to fascinate us as we seek understanding and justice. Stay tuned for updates on this gripping true crime tale that leaves us pondering the depths of human behavior. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Please like and subscribe for more content. What are your thoughts on this whole case?